All right, guys, engine and transmission are kind of sort of in. I'm actually going to move the car out, clear off all the stuff off the lift. I kind of just threw it all up there to get it out of the way. We had people over for Easter and stuff, so I wanted the garage to be somewhat clean. So I'm going to move all that stuff off, move the car out, and then get the car back up on the lift so I can kind of move the engine and transmission around to get everything locked in how it should be. You can kind of see, I don't know how well you can see, but the motor is not fully sitting on the mounts right now, but it's pretty close. I also kind of just set the radiator and intercooler back in, somewhat to get them out of the way, somewhat to see what I'm working with here. I started kind of playing with the fittings for the cooling. That's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to do some finagling there, but should be able to make it work. I think I'm going to have to order up some new fittings, but that's how that goes. It's hard to know until it's all in the car and set up. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to get this thing moved and get everything rearranged so we could start working on this thing back up on the lift and start getting things finalized. One thing that I'm a little concerned with is this brake line here. If you remember, I have my 4-inch downpipe comes right through this area. So I'm a little bit concerned with heat on this. I'm obviously going to wrap it. I'm going to wrap the downpipe, but I'm still concerned. But we'll kind of figure that out when we get to it. I may try to relocate it down a little bit or remake that line. Haven't quite decided yet. But anyways, enough talking. Let's get this thing outside and get ready to bring it back up on the lift. Okay, we're back underneath the car now. Yesterday, I made that little clip where I said I was going to move the car out, get it over on the lift. I stopped recording. I just kind of did some work. It was kind of boring stuff. I got the transmission and the engine kind of bolted together. I had to kind of finagle it, so I spent most of my time trying to get that all moved around and lined up, but it's in here pretty good now. I changed out the transmission pan. So this is something I never explained before. This transmission is brand new. Just had it built. I had a brand new cast aluminum deep pan on it, not a B&M, but just another knockoff or whatever. And one time when I was taking the motor out, the car was on the lift. We decided to take the trans cross member off so that the trans sat down, and we were going to try and take the engine and trans out as one unit. Well, when the car rolled backwards off the lift bashed into this and ripped the plug clean out of it. I mean, just mangled it. So that pan was completely garbage, which was very irritating because they're not that cheap, and it was brand new. I never even got to run the transmission at all with it. Then it also turned out that because I have this ATI catch can on the front here, it wouldn't get past this cross brace. So I spent a whole bunch of time messing with it, ended up having to take it out from underneath the car. It was super frustrating. So I learned my lessons there. But anyways, it's all back in here now. I do have a couple areas of concern. You can see that this pan still hits the cross brace right here, and the drain plug is directly over the center of it. Well, you'll be able to see that. And then also the oil drain for the turbo is like right into that mount. This I'm pretty sure I could work around. This stuff, I have an idea, but we'll get to it when we get to it. I also, obviously the oil filter is right above. Depending on what I do with this, that might not be an issue. If it is, I'm just gonna do a remote mount. I don't want to spend the money on a remote mount, but it's not the end of the world. Remote mounts have their advantages anyway. Torque converter's in. I have not bolted them together yet. Just haven't done it quite yet. I might end up taking the transmission back out, but everything's looking pretty good. I tried the drive shaft yesterday. It fit, so that was good. But on to today's task. We're gonna pull the differential out. My drift motion adapter came in yesterday. That thing's really nice, by the way. But I don't know how well you guys will be able to see. It's leaking pretty bad around this rear cover. It's also leaking on this stub. Maybe on this one too, but almost certainly on that one. So it needs to come out, get cleaned up. I I don't have the money for anything else, so I'm just gonna weld it for now and hope that it holds together. So let's get you guys set up on the time lapse, and I'm gonna try and get this thing out. All right, we got this big honking diff out up on the bench. It's pretty nasty. The bottom side is all completely covered. I knew this rear cover was leaking, but with it being all the way up here, I'm thinking this vent is probably a problem. And it does also kind of look like both stub seals were leaking. So I don't know if I'm going to replace those or not. I've never done them, so I don't really know what's all involved. I'll have to look into that a little bit. Enough messing around. Let's just get this thing cracked open and see what we're dealing with. Okay, that's enough of messing around with this thing. We're gonna put it in the ultrasonic and clean it up. All right, we're back on this rear end. I spent a little bit of time trying to see if I could get these stubs out to replace the seals, but I was having a real hard time getting it all apart. These things are all covered in green Loctite, which is kind of a strange choice, but whatever. But I had them all out, it wasn't coming out, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't really think they're leaking all that bad if they are. It's really just kind of weird because a lot of this stuff is black and a lot of it's undercoating, like on the bottom side of this thing is all undercoating. So things look a lot worse than they really are. So after I cleaned it up a little bit, I decided, you know what, it's fine. I'm just gonna leave it. So now what we're gonna do is weld up the spider gears. I'm actually gonna put a plate in here on both sides. I've already measured it. It's about 1 inch by 2 1/4. That's what I'm gonna cut and see how that fits. Yeah, there's not much else to say, I guess. So I'm gonna get these plates cut real fast and then see if I can weld them. I've never done this before, but how hard can it be? Let's find out.